Well, we're back once again with our pal Judy Heft. My dear, so nice to see you as always. And we're going to talk about something here, getting ready for tax time. And I can get into my soapbox of this is the obligation of every American citizen, but this is something everybody has to do, and it's avoided like the plague. So tell us really what set you off on this path.
Well, you know, I think I'm very organized. I like to have all my papers organized and all my files organized, and I think there's so many people that are overwhelmed, and you see them running around on the earliest April 15th or even April 10th or April 14th, you know, running around trying to get everything together. And I think being organized all year round is just a gift that you can give yourself. It just saves you so much time and money. People don't realize it saves money.
And aggravation.
Wow.
And I mean, probably, at least in my experience, procrastinators. What causes a procrastinator to be a procrastinator, and what can one do to avoid procrastination? You know.
Well, I think when you don't keep up with your paperwork and then you let it pile up and then you have to do it, you know, once a year or twice a year, it's just these big mounds of paper that you just can't deal with. You can't look at them, and so then you procrastinate more and then they pile up again. So I think if you keep up with them on a weekly basis, then there's very small little files and you don't have to deal with it, and it's just so much easier, I think.
Well, and is the time not cumulative? Like, for example, if I walked into a room and I just took, and I'm great, and you know, Pam Leverance, who's my administrator, I just walk in the back room and empty my pockets and I say, here, you know, and she's very good about taking things and giving me the reports and looking at them and, you know, hey, we've got this issue or that issue where this is taking place. And it's all cumulative, whereas if I did it myself and I just threw everything on a box or something or a table, it would take me 50 hours at the end of the year as opposed to an hour a week.
Oh, absolutely. We do our clients' bills every week. We organize all their receipts and papers and, you know, check their American Express, their credit card bills every week. We stay on top of everything, even if there aren't a lot of bills. I mean, there are a couple of people we do it twice a month for, smaller people, but if you keep up with it every week, you're right, you can do it in an hour a week. It's so much easier. Yeah,
now you and I were having a conversation before we got on the air about credit cards and the fact that you have experience of the fact of things getting hacked and things happening almost overnight. And if you just kind of have this idea of, as they used to say in the Italian vernacular, come see, come saw, you know, que sera, sera. All of a sudden you get hit in the head, you're sitting in a restaurant, your card gets canceled, but that is a casualty of not being up on your records. Oh,
absolutely. You really should check your credit card statements every day. I check mine every day, my bank account and my credit card bills every day, and that's how I knew. Actually, we were talking, it happened to me last night, all of a sudden I see these. First I saw, it was yesterday actually, first I saw a very small charge for $1.50, and I didn't pay that much attention to it because it was small, and I thought, well, who knows what it could be. Let me keep an eye on it to see if it happens again. And then I looked again last night, and there were about 6 different charges. The last one that came up was a hospital in Pennsylvania, and my American Express card has been sitting in my wallet. I know, you know, I know it's there, and I checked, and so I called American Express, and it had been swiped in Virginia and Pennsylvania. So, you know, yes, of course you're not going to have to pay these charges, but it still gets scary. I think what they do is they start with the small charges and they see if you're paying attention, and then they go with the large charges.
And then they go after.
And you think your credit card companies are liable? Yes, they are, but it can be worse than that. You don't know what else they have out there.
Well, yeah, for certain. My wife Kathy tells me in healthcare that one of the problems they have in the institution that she works for, notwithstanding all their other institutional difficulties, is people will actually, latest thing of course is this Anthem hack. And what people will do, and why these things are extremely valuable and why you need to be up on your records, is they will confiscate a person's personage and go into the hospital and submit themselves for medical treatment under the name of the person whom they said they are not, but the name that they have stolen. And that's like, I mean, that's like beyond diabolical. All the more reason.
It is shocking when you hear what some of these people get away with and what they try to do.
Yeah, really amazing. One of the things you have told me is that good record keeping is a gift that you give yourself. And I'm sure this is one of these axiomatic things that you tell people. How is it a gift?
Well, I think it, you know what, it relieves a lot of stress. It really does. I mean, you have more peace within yourself when you know that everything is organized and neat and tidy. And, you know, if you walk into my office at any given moment, the only papers you will see on our desks are the papers of the file we're working on at that time. And when we leave, everything's put away again, because it just clears your mind. You know, I always say, you know, objects that no longer serve you prevent fortune from coming into your life. That's a little feng shui thing I heard. And I keep that in my head because I don't like to keep a lot of paper, and I like to keep things nice and organized and tidy.
Well, and you mentioned to me you like a 3-folder system.
Yes, and you can do that electronically. You know, we used to do that in paper files, and the way we scan everything, we keep all our computer files the same way we would keep them in the regular old-fashioned file cabinet. So I like a 3-folder system, especially for tax items. Now, one that says tax, you start that in January, not January now for last year, last January for last year. So now we're starting for 2015, and you know, have the main folder be taxes 2015, and then everything that's tax related goes in there. If you put your, if you make estimated tax payments, your mortgage receipts if you want to save them, you know, scan them and save them on your computer. You don't have to save the paper files. Any legal documents, you know, legal bills, accounting bills, anything that goes on your tax return.
Now, I have not, and this is me, I'm usually on the technological scale. I'm usually like 2 behind and 2 to the left. I want to know the thing that's working for me is still working, and I'm not out there in the innovation area like, okay, there's the newest thing, everybody needs to go out and do this, because I don't want to be a part of a research and development team and not get paid for it. That's just me. I'm on enough unpaid research and development teams. My vendors come to me and ask me questions, but that all being as it is, have you had, and this is something I haven't embraced yet, whatever you want to call them, those document reading programs where you scan things and they cull the data off and they actually put, have you had positive experiences with these particular packages?
Definitely. We use a model called ScanSnap. It's just a little desktop scanner. It's about this big, and it sits right on the desk, and you can put receipts in there. You can put any kind of paper in there, any invoices that you want to keep.
Wow.
And we use that all the time, and that scans to the computer, and then it goes in those files. All paid bills go in those files. Any correspondence, and then the paper is just shredded.
There's, so really there is absolutely no excuse whatsoever.
I mean, there's still a certain amount of paper. We're not completely 100% paperless.
Not my generation.
But I try. We definitely try to go paperless wherever possible. There's sometimes you have to refer to something on a piece of paper. We're used to doing that. I think the younger generation definitely is more paperless. Yeah, it's easier for them.
I used to love to go into those old libraries, and you know, one of my office neighbors, you know, in my building has these old Internal Revenue codes back in the day when you can actually put the code into one volume that kind of looked like the Code of Hammurabi, and you could sit there and turn the pages, and I'm getting used to the computer thing, but there's really, it's a great feeling to look at something and hold something.
That's
and
true.
But
even bank statements and credit card statements, we don't save those anymore. You can get your bank statements, some banks up to 7 years, right online.
Yeah,
when
exactly.
you sign on. You don't need to keep that paper. You know, insurance policies, I've been in people's homes where they keep insurance policies back to 20, 30 years ago. The old expired ones, you don't need to keep those. You just need your current one.
None whatsoever. And I realize that we'll be coming up on a break soon, but one of the things I wanted to hit before this segment is get the tax credit you're due. And you mentioned this is important. To me, it's always a difficult thing to see what tax credits might I be due. Somebody told me once there are tons and tons and tons and tons of unclaimed tax credits that were a part of all these economic development bills that just kind of trickled off the page. No one ever used them. They're still there for somebody to take if they so, especially in manufacturing. But how does one get sort of a good idea of what credits they might be due?
Well, I think that's where you need a tax professional to help you out with. You know, they are up on all the new laws. They're, you know, versed in all the classes. You can go to the IRS website, but you have to know what you're looking for. I guess you can go to the IRS website and, you know, check in and look at the type of credits you think you might. But if you don't know what you're looking for, you need a tax professional.
One of the things I used to do years back, and this is thousands of years ago, was actually get a form and look at it and read down it and say, now what does this mean? And then go to a book, either the Lasser book or the Publication 17 or the Sylvia Porter, and say, oh yeah, what does this mean? Then I would go and ask questions. And the things that you learn, I mean, to me are absolutely fascinating. I think today the younger generation, not to go hard on you guys, but they kind of think that this is all a thing of just scan everything and TurboTax for free and life is great, and the substance of what we're doing has not changed.
It's not that simple.
It really isn't. And it hardly ever is not that simple, but we have a really great person here to make it simpler for you. We will be back right after this with more of Judy Heft on Connecticut Morning.